Hi Ninjas, this is Mr. Cato from Code Ninjas, Smyrna, Atlanta, and Douglasville. Today we're going to work on server. So this game is, well, interesting. So what you need to do is essentially the ninjas, the pink and black ninjas will be requesting food items, and as a player, you're going to need to serve it up to them. They will say they will thank you, and then they will snap back to the table. And every time you serve them the right food, you get a point. So not the most exciting game, but we're gonna learn quite a few concepts by doing this game. So let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start off with the food items here, and in the initialize when scene starts, we're gonna make sure that they're in the right position. So right now they're in the right position on the table. We want to make sure if we move them around, they when we start the game, they're always back where they belong. So to do that, you guys have done this several times. So again, it's a X and Y thing. So we're gonna say this dot. So I'm in the food one, which is the pizza. I'm gonna say this dot origin origin x is equal to. This is just I'm making up a variable here. Is equal to this dot x, and this is the same thing for y. This dot origin y is equal to this dot y. So essentially what I'm doing here is that I'm storing the current position into these global variables so that I'm storing the I'm storing the position into these global variables, and I will use that. I'll use that later when they when you drop them off to the ninja and then it needs to snap back, it will know the original position. Okay, so we need to actually do this for every food item. So we're gonna copy this into every food item. So I've already done that. So this is the pizza. This is the food three. So each of these food items, they're not named like hamburger, hot dog. They're just named food and a number. So food two, food one, and so on and so on. So just make sure we have this code everywhere in the initialize when scene starts, and we do. Okay, let's take a break and make sure you guys can do that, and we'll come back. All right, hopefully you guys have all your code set up. So the next step here is to be able to drag this food over to the correct ninja and then making it snap back. Okay, so we're gonna drag it. As soon as we raise our mouse button, it should snap right back. So I have the code here, but let's do it for this one where there's no code, and we'll write it together. So we're gonna go to the mouse button up for food one, and we'll start writing some code. So first we need a variable. Oops, lowercase. Need a variable, and we're gonna call it food num. Food number is equal to one. So this is for food number one. We're gonna just store this food num equals one. Okay. Then we are going to check that it's touching the pink ninja or it's touching the black ninja. So I'm going to put a little condition here and say if this dot y, see this dot y is less than 300 and oops, and this dot is touching touching PINK NINJA. So that's the object name for the pink ninja. And then we're gonna do something. So we're gonna say this dot scene dot food check. We're gonna pass food check the food number that we just said. Food number. Then we're gonna tell it what color ninja. we're dealing with here. So we haven't written this function yet. This is a new function, the food check function. So this is going to be the bulk of what actually checks if the food is right or wrong, and that's going to go in our initialize when scene starts on the scene, but we haven't written that yet. So we're just assuming this will be there, right? And then okay, and then there's just a little piece of code here. I'm just checking if this dot y is less than 300. I'll let you figure out what that does yourself. But then if we do it for the pink ninja, we need to do it for the black ninja as well. So let's do an else if, and we'll say pretty much the exact same thing. And you'll see a lot of this in this game. Y, we're going to check that it's less than 300. And we're also going to check that to see if it's touching the black ninja. So this is touching, and we're going to do black ninja. Okay. So I think we're okay here. And we're running out of space a little bit, but it's fine. And I kind of want almost the exact same thing. So I'll just copy this and go back. Exact. I'll have this dot scene dot food check again, food num, but instead of pink, we're gonna pass the black ninja, right? Then finally here, remember when we stored the value of x and y? So so this is on mouse up, right? So as soon as we drag and raise our mouse, we're gonna snap it all the way back. So we're gonna say this dot x is equal to, remember we created this dot origin, so we stored that, and then we'll say this dot y, and we can set that to this dot origin y. Okay, so that should work. It may not work for you because you don't have food check yet. Well, let's test it. So I'm gonna save this entire thing, and then this is for food one, right? So I'm gonna start the game, and I'm gonna try to drag here, and boom, nothing happens, and I have and I have a debug. My debug said this dot scene dot food check is not a function. Well, yeah, because we haven't written it yet. So why don't we fake it? Why don't we fake it? I'm gonna fake it. I'm gonna add this food check function. So let's go back to I'm gonna stop the game, and let's go back to the um, initialize when scene starts, but we need to do that on the scene. So I'm gonna come out here and let's just clear this out, and I'll say something like, something like this dot food check is equal to a function. Do that in JavaScript, and it's going to take a number, which is the food number, and also a ninja, right? The ninja color. And we're not going to put anything in here yet. It's just going to be empty. And just so that we don't get that is not a function, because now the function exists, but it just doesn't do anything, which is fine for now. So let's go to our debug and clear that. And let's see if it will work this time. So I'm going to hit start. Then I'm going to drag the pizza here. And I still have a debug. And this still does some weird stuff. So let's see what's happening. This does scene down food check is not a function. Wait, what? Hang on. Let's stop. And let's go back to our initialize when. I do have it. I do have food check as equal to function. the start and track. Oh, I'm on background, so I probably don't want to be in background. So let's cut that off and go to the scene. Yeah, I went one down. So boom. So I'm gonna save. Well, let's save it. I'm gonna clear out this debug, and then I'm gonna start again and give it a second shot. So pizza, boom, works. So he doesn't do much, but it at least it snaps back, and I have no errors, right? Because I do have the food check function now. It just doesn't do anything. Okay, so I will let you guys. Well, actually, before we do that, so the next step is we want to make sure. So what did we just do? If we click, I want to stop, go back to the pizza, and you notice, oops, where is it? It was on mouse up, right? So let's look at the mouse button up, and you notice that this is for the pizza, right? Which is food number one. So we need to do this for pretty much every food. So, for example, this one is food number two, food number three. So exactly the same thing. We'll just copy and paste it, and we'll change the food number to be the correct number. Okay, so I'll let you guys go ahead and do that and give you a few minutes.